I used to react immediately. I'm learning that when you give it time and you sleep on it, it's not that big of a deal.
Like, would you fight or would you flex?
More of an opinion-based, probably getting out my feelings verbally. I never really was a fighter, and I never really was one to run away either, but definitely letting people know where I stood at the time or what I felt at the time. And sometimes those opinions.
Communicating your emotions or saying what you feel helps, or letting it out in like if you're mad, you let it out in a rage.
So I can share with you that anytime you express your feelings, you're going to take 50% of that load off of your own shoulders. So it is imperative that you express your feelings.
Right in here. What are emotions?
I think there's certain feelings that we get, for instance, happy, excited, sad, mad. Those are all examples of emotions.
Right. What are overwhelming emotions?
Overwhelming emotions, I would say sadness would be one. Madness would be one.
Yes.
Overly joyful, I
Right.
would say would be one. Yeah.
Okay. So going on, you deal with overwhelming emotions. As a person, as an individual, how have you and how do you now deal with overwhelming emotions?
I think maybe the older I get, the more I realize that if something occurs in my daily life, I sit back and I think, is this going to affect me long term, or is this something that in the big picture of things is really not that important? Like,
What are emotions?
Emotions, I think they are, I don't know, I feel like you already asked me, these are just kind of how, there's emotions all 24/7.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Good question, what are emotions? There's different types of emotions.
Yes, how do you deal with overwhelming emotions?
I would like to say that in all my personal life, I've kind of gotten to a place where I've gotten control of them better. So like to calm myself, or like to watch a movie, or when I feel like there's like many things going on in my head, I need to like focus on one, so that way I can calm down. Or I could maybe go on a walk, get some fresh air. Sometimes that just meditation. I did it when I was in college. I took a class on meditation, and
React personally to overwhelming. Because like some people
to say that I kind of just like, I think in a perfect world, my definition would be to like, I just stay like not reacting, because I feel like that's usually where you react because you're so passionate about it, and I feel like I'm at the point where I'm just like thinking about it, and that's kind of the hard part with like the other person, because the other person might be thinking about like, oh, they're being disrespectful because they're not reacting right away to what I'm saying, right? But it's like, no, actually, I'm collecting my thoughts on.
I think that communicating your emotions or using them in a project is healthier. Like when you...
Ooh, I think that's a good question, because I feel like part of me would like to say that it's awesome to communicate as it's happening, be like, hey, I'm frustrating, this is what happened on my thing. But I feel like a lot of the things, when it comes to communication, a lot of people don't know what to do with certain emotions, which that's perfectly fine. I don't think we're taught what to do.
What are emotions? How do you deal with overwhelming emotions? Like, how do you deal when you're angry? How do you deal when you're sad?
I go punch a wall.
How well are you at knowing your emotions?
Not very well. I have anger issues.
Do you think that saying that you're mad is helpful, or do you think that punching the wall more is helpful?
Probably telling someone instead of destroying my wall.
Do you think that when you get so angry that you don't see anything else, you just see what you're angry at? Do you think that's true? What are emotions?
Emotions, well, I think emotions are like, so if like you get like in trouble, you'll get like mad or sad about like something. Just express your feeling about like how you react to that.
How do you deal with overwhelming emotions? Like,
Usually, sometimes I'll just like, if I'm like mad, I'll walk away to like the situation so I don't get in trouble too.
how do you tell that you're like really mad or really sad? Or are you good at telling that? Or
So like when I'm sad, I'm good at telling it, but when like I'm mad, it's kind of hard for me to tell it. Someone about.
the Bible states that anger leads to blindness. Do you agree with that, or do you not?
I agree with that.
Why?
Is because it is true. Because like you keep being mad, you can like start doing stuff that like you shouldn't do, and you can get like.
What are emotions?
Their responses to what happens. Like, so for example, if you get hurt, your body will automatically process to either cry or get mad if someone like pushed you down or something like that.
Right. How do you deal with overwhelming emotions like anger or sadness?
I try to conquer, like I try to overcome my anger because I can't really control it.
Right.
But with sadness, that's also one that I need to try and conquer too. So
How do you recognize your emotions?
they're very, like, ever since I had turned 11, they started to like become more noticeable, to show up more.
So when you say noticeable, do you mean to yourself or to other people?
To myself, because like sometimes I just get more emotional over some stuff that I used to never get emotional over.
Or to let it out?
For me, I believe maybe communicating would be a bit better whenever you're ready, because if you let it out, then like in football and stuff, you won't be able to get rid of it because you haven't talked to anyone yet.
It states that anger leads to blindness. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
Well, I'm not very sure, because whenever I do get mad in football, like it tends to make my eyes watery, so it gets hard to see. So
Well, I mean, like when you get angry off the field, and you're like, oh man, this friend's really making me angry. Do you see anybody else reacting to you, or do you just see what you're focused on?
I just see what I'm focused on.